All right, let's freaking go. We got a bunch of New Jersey Meatcocks here. Look at Rufo already celebrating a little seltzer. That better be
Let's
the pregame.
go.
A little white girl wasted on a Tuesday.
We got a little. I'm going bougie tonight. I got a little Pinot Noir, if you know what that's all about. Got to go light. I've been drinking tequila all night, so is what it is. We already got Mike Long tuning in. What's up, Mike? This
Hi, Mike.
is like. This is like the victory party. I mean, like we already had a party, but this is like the after kind of like post-mortem. We just had our convention over the weekend here in New Jersey. And so these are the Meatcocks we're talking about, basically the sweep that happened. So we got Frankie, we got Mike, we got Dan, we got Mike Rufo. I'm going to kick it to you first, Mike. All right. So anyone who's I'm going to go to Rufo. All right. I'm going to go to the grandchild of Lysander Spooner himself. All right. If anyone's unfamiliar with the Mises Caucus, maybe they've heard some shit. Maybe they didn't know anything about the Mises Caucus. What is the Mises Caucus and why is it such a big deal that we basically swept, most of the state board positions in New Jersey, and we're going to be kind of like skippering the ship from going on out, going here on out?
Because for the last 2 years, you've heard a lot of people who are libertarian saying, what the hell is wrong with the Libertarian Party? I thought they were libertarians. They look like a bunch of weak-ass liberals. And the truth of the matter is the Libertarian Party wing of the Libertarian Party is the Mises Caucus. And we've been spending the last 2 years trying to take back the party for liberty and make it be a true beacon for all libertarians to follow, a la Ron Paul in 2008. We are the Ron Paul libertarians. We are the people who are looking to make it happen. And we are the ones who are going to spearhead the fight against the state.
And so if anyone wants more information about the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus, go to lpmisescaucus.com. You'll find out some more information. There are some of the figureheads, obviously, Ron Paul, Ludwig von Mises, Murray Rothbard. We got them all, man. This is like, this is something that I think has been a long time coming. And there was definitely a need for this in the Libertarian Party. There was like some stagnation and stuff happening. And in fact, Mike and Dan, I think you were both guys that were like active in the past and kind of got this, this movement kind of drew you back in, right? Was it something where it was just kind of like the people, the messaging, what really kind of, and I'll let Mike Pinon go first. What really kind of like brought you back into the fold with the Mises Caucus and what's going on?
Okay, so wow, right under the wire. You got me? I was having a little technical issue, but you got me.
All good, we got you.
Right about the time where the deadline was coming to for people to sign up to the NJLP so they could vote, Dan gave me a call and he goes, Mike, I know you're not really want to do this and you're not involved in politics. And I was like, but there's this Mises Caucus thing going on. And I said, what? He's like, yeah, it's like all these Ron Paul people and they're trying to do this and do that. And trying to turn the Libertarian Party ship in the right direction. And I was like, that's good. I'm in. Let's go. So, while he was on the phone with me, I went up and I paid my $20 or whatever it was and signed up so I could vote. And I just sat back and started getting on your Zoom calls and just trying to get what the vibe was, and kind of see what's going on and follow the flow. That's really my story. But I mean,
awesome.
I come from the Ron Paul movement from 07 and 2011. So
what kind of like really quickly, what kind of like caused you to, kind of like downgrade in terms of your involvement? Like what was it really that kind of pushed you away from the party or maybe just didn't inspire you anymore that really was missing for you?
Pretty much in both Ron Paul campaigns, I maxed out in donations, right? And I was the ballot core. I was there were a lot of meetup groups in 2007. And when those meetup groups came together to organize to get Ron Paul on the ballot in 08, there was a conference call. It wasn't Zoom. We were on a phone call. And because I had been studying law prior to that, informally, the thing about, everything is black and white in the law. Specific. It's supposed to be specific, defined. And these people, and in the group where I was learning law, you didn't bring mythology. You had to back up whatever you were bringing to the group. You had to back it up. You had to have substantiate it. So I'm in the call and I'm hearing all these people worried about whether Giuliani is going to challenge us or this guy's going to challenge us. And I was like, whoa, hang on. I go, why are you worrying about challenging? I said, let's just look at the election law, follow the rules, and just let's go do the thing.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And they were like, oh my God, it sounds like you know what you're doing. Do you want to be the ballot coordinator for the state?
Yeah.
And I was like, really? You guys want to pick me? Okay. So I said, I'll do it, but I need 3 people to help. I need someone in the north, someone in the south, and someone in the middle of the state. And let's organize this thing and let's do it. So that's how I got involved. So that's how deep I was. And then in 2011, I helped Neil Schloss coordinate with his ballot coordinator. So acting like an advisor, but same amount of work, maxed out again. And then like 2 days before the New Jersey primary in 2011, Rand Paul comes out and endorses Mitt Romney before anybody in New Jersey could vote. And I just wanted to just scream.
Ah!
I mean, I get it. His father really wasn't looking to take the chair. He was talking. He was about being in the conversation and presenting the message.
Yeah.
But when his son did that before we could even vote, that took me out.
Yeah.
I was done.
But yeah, there's nothing like a supposed libertarian endorsing the guy who is the godfather of universal healthcare in the United States. I mean, that definitely sets you back. Let me give you, Dan, a shot, man. What brought you back into the fold? You were active way back when. You've been more active now recently. Oh, I lost Dan. Look at that. I talk about him and I lose him immediately. All right,
Bro,
we'll get Dan back here in a second.
But before I'll just say, Dan brought me back into the fold.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Dan's like the glue guy. Like when we can get him back in here, he's got like a bunch of contacts. As soon as Dan got in, he brought like more people with him, which also kind of speaks to like we can talk about kind of like the technique or the game plan or whatever of the Mises Caucus. But there's a lot of these people that had multiple connections, and once they got back involved and they saw the message change, they brought more people with them, which was absolutely fantastic. All right. Oh, we got Dan back. Dan, can you hear us?
Yeah. How you guys doing?
Oh, awesome. We got Dan. All right. Dan, what kind of like caused you to like move away from the party? And then what caused you to kind of like come back into the fold as of recently?
What's funny that you say that is I ran into Michael Hayes at the after party the other night.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to him that I got elected to the Central Region Board, the state board for Central.
Yeah.
And he was laughing. He's like, I remember at the holiday party, you were saying screw the LP, and now you're on the state board. And he's like, that's pretty funny. But what actually happened is, I've been on and off with the LP for 10 years, and it's been like, I feel like it's like an abusive relationship in some ways. Like you get excited, you get involved, and then all of a sudden here comes Bill Weld, or here comes Judge Gray, and it just takes all the wind out of your sails. You're like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And usually with me, do something else. Years I did one event. And friends, and we do stuff separate from the union, and every time we get involved again, and then realize the water's still not warm. So what happened this time is I got involved and I met all you guys, and I realized it's different right now. This is something I've never seen before. This is like the Ron Baldwin all of a sudden in the LP, and it was fun. And I've only been with guys for a couple months now, but it's been a lot of fun so far. We kicked ass completely on Saturday. I mean, it wasn't even close. We took the whole board. We took every delegate seat, and the party afterwards, especially the karaoke. Mike Ruffo and Ted and what was the guy with the Devils jersey? He was awesome. He probably had the best.
Dude,
that's Nate.
Nate.
That's Nate.
It's Nate.
Nate is the secretary of the North Region, and he is just one hell of a human being.
Dude, he is 100% fun, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, Frankie, I'm going to give you a shot because you've been sitting here waiting patiently. Dan, what else kind of like inspired you really quickly to kind of like, get back in the mix and throw your hat in the ring? I mean, hell, you have a freaking board position. Like, you didn't just get in light.
Dan, for the record, Dan, I promise you didn't have to do any of that.
Yeah,
I told you didn't have to do it.
Right. Did you get duped into it, Dan? Was that it?
I'm gonna give it the best yeah, kind of. Mike was like, I think you'd be a good central rep. You could do a good job. And I was like, yeah, all right. So here I am. I'm trying it. I was the chairman in 2016. So we'll see how this goes. But one thing I do like is it's all about the message as far as I'm concerned. To be completely honest, if I hear anyone talk about winning elections and everything, I really don't take it seriously because we have to build a culture. We have to get bigger. We have to make this into something first before we can really be a force to be reckoned with. So the message is more important than anything as far as I'm concerned. And if we have a message of decentralization, localization, and eliminating and slashing government every which way we can, we're going to make the world more free, and that's really what our mission is, right? So if we're just talking about winning elections and we're willing to run CIA agents for president and stuff, like we've completely lost our way, and that's where the LP was.
100%. 100%. All right. I'm going to pull Mike Manieri, and Mike's part of like our youth movement. But before you get going, Mike, I got to give Frankie a shot because she's been here from the beginning and I haven't given her a shot to kind of like give her take. She is now the vice chair of the New Jersey Libertarian Party, as if she didn't have enough on her plate already. She is
hail
like
the queen. All hail the queen.
She's one heartbeat away from the chairmanship. Let me put it that way.
God, don't put it that way. I don't
Jesus
know.
Christ, you're killing Nikhil already? I mean, he's young.
I'm just saying, look, I know Nikhil. The opening salvo in his speech to get elected as the chair was absolutely fantastic. I do not doubt that there are some people that might be talking to hitmen. I'm just saying, it is what it is. But so, Frankie, what was your take in terms of the convention, how it went down, and just I think all of the lead up that happened up until convention and kind of like what that final result looked like?
There was so much organizing that was going on behind the scenes that I don't think people really know about. It was like you really have to work tirelessly to get people to show up to do this kind of stuff. Because first and foremost, it's hard to get people to show up for the Libertarian Party in general, and then add a caucus on top of it. And you're like, well, here, but this is why. So we had to go through lists. Dan O'Neill and Mike Pinon did so much. They called so many people to make sure that they showed up for us. We started the Telegram chat that we had going on where we started just pulling people in to try and get people involved, get people talking, get people feeling like they were a part of the group, like they were part of something bigger. And all of that is really because Mike Ruffo was running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to get as many people as he could to get involved and to be a part of it. And And it's really cool. There's a really cool energy about being in the Mises Caucus, like regardless of our messaging and everything, that all of our goals that we have, there is a sense of community there that I haven't really felt anywhere else just yet. So yeah, there was a lot that went into it. There was a lot of hours on Zoom that made me want to blow my brains out, or rage quit every other day. But we made it, and we did it, and everything's going in the right direction at this point.
This was like a weekly occurrence. I think Frankie quit the party once a week for like the last 2 months because of like what was going on in terms of like the state party.
This is what happens.
Like,
this is what happens when you start wrangling anarchists, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, no, I'm out. I can't do it. And it's like, fine, I'll do it because I like all of you guys. You guys are all cool. All right, I'll do it. And then all of a sudden I'm a vice chair of a libertarian state party.
I'm pretty sure
Fine.
Rufo like vetoed her quitting. Like,
I was not allowed.
I think 20 times.
I exercised line item veto powers every time she quit.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I can't stress enough the amount of work that went into before convention. Like, this is the perfect example of people who look at like the touchdown pass, right, the star quarterback, and be like, oh, I could do that. And you're like, no, you fucking couldn't, because that dude woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning for like 20 years straight in order to be able to throw that touchdown pass. Like, that is exactly what went down. It was, and Mike's been doing this for years. Like, most of us have been just in the mix for the last maybe 12 months or 18 months tops doing this. But Mike has been rallying this support in the state for, basically probably 2-3 years now. As far as your involvement with the Mises Caucus. So props to you. 4 years. Damn, man. Like, that's, and
like a big
wow.
shout out to James Ripley on that as well.
Rip's been right there. Rip's been right there with me for most of it. So
he was essential to getting all of this off the ground. He did so much work. So
Rip's like the chief engineer. Like, he's like, he keeps the trains running, man. Like, I can't even imagine, how he's that productive.
He's got that like that organized, like some
he's
people
so methodical,
like that methodical,
list oriented, and
like he loves spreadsheets. He loves, like, he's very engineer like in that sense, and he puts that engineer mentality into what he's doing, and it's an integral part of what you need, right? Like, you need that engineer to put all that together so that your personalities can do what your personalities do, so that your grinders can go do what your grinders do, and it's, there's so everybody has their role. And if you don't have those integral roles filled, the organization of it it falls apart. So it's been a very awesome example of how, like, you need to put the right asses in the right seats. Because if you don't put the right asses in the right seats and it's just a bunch of people trying to do shit, it doesn't work. Right. So, like, knowing who your players are and getting your players to do their job is so integral. And it is by far the hardest part of any organization.
And speaking of putting the right butts in the right seats, I think we have the right communications person, at least for our social media outreach. Okay. Michael Manieri was the youngest person, I believe, in the entire room at convention. Dude's like part of the youth movement here, which just speaks to the fact of, like, Ron Paul, when he was running, he had a youth movement that came into the liberty movement when he was running. And now this resurgence of kind of Ron Pauliness that's being baked into the Libertarian Party is attracting young people just like Mike. Like, Mike, have you always, like, thought of yourself as a libertarian, or is it just something that you've kind of, like, come to recently in your, young life here?
No, it's definitely been a recent thing. I started getting into politics maybe like 2 years ago. And then I just made the basic, like, I just realized that, the government was screwing everything up, specifically like the economy. So then I joined this party. I started reading the libertarian texts, Anatomy of the State, books like that. And I realized, okay, I just kind of got radicalized by that. And I realized that this is the way, specifically the Ron Paul libertarianism. The last time the libertarian movement has been a big thing was when Ron Paul ran in 2012, the time before that, 2008, and we haven't really been able to expand like that, since then. So I think I realized that the Jorgensen, Gary Johnson libertarianism isn't going to switch anybody. It's, that Ron Paul messaging that's really going to spread the movement.
Yes, totally. And so you're tasked with at least a good portion of the social media messaging going forward. So from like your perspective, and granted, it's kind of a communal thing, right? Like a lot of people are going to be have input into the messaging, but from your standpoint, how would you like to see the messaging put forward, and what do you think would be attractive to an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old who's out there, who's maybe just getting their first paycheck or just getting involved in politics and trying to figure out like, what's what and kind of like where to go to figure out what's going on? What kind of messaging do you think that, say, like the younger folks that are just getting into politics are looking for, or what would resonate with them?
Well, I mean, the type of people that are going to join this party and really be good libertarians, I think that we've missed with messaging so far, not the Mises Caucus, but LP National. I think we need to stay away from this woke stuff. I think we need to go back to as I said, the Ron Paul movement. And that's because there's one message that has worked, and that's the Ron Paul, end the Fed, end the wars, end the war on drugs, and the IRS. That's the messaging that's going to work, not the woke shit.
Yeah. You know what? It was easy to go in that direction. So I will call foul on people that decided to push the messaging that direction, because maybe they should have seen this ahead of time. But it was an easy direction to go in, right? Like it just seemed like that was the way the tide was shifting. The problem is that what made Ron Paul so popular was he was willing to give people uncomfortable truths, right? Like he was willing to pierce all of that bullshit that we know, the propaganda and all the lies that come from people that have something to gain from them. He was willing to just push straight through that and not even deal with it with kid gloves, just throw it right in their face and just be like, no, this is completely ridiculous. How could you possibly believe this? And I agree with you. I think the world needs more of that, because even if you lose an election doing that, at least one, you could sleep at night. And two, maybe at least you've woken some people up to the fact that there's this smoke screen, or basically this, filter that everything gets put through, that essentially has this kind of like, political, just evil slant to it, like this just dirty, tawdry slant to it. All right. So let me ask some general questions. All right. I'll give everyone like free range. Like whoever wants to answer this first, go ahead. What do you think was the one thing that contributed to the success of the Mises Caucus, specifically in New Jersey, in terms of this last convention? What was the one thing that you think was the catalyst that moved things forward? Again, first one to speak, whoever wants it.
I'll say, like, it was you guys, it was the organizers, it was everyone that showed up every Wednesday night. There were, if you got the Prags here and the Mises Caucus here, we organized, they organized too. They organized a meeting to try to kick another member out, but they didn't organize for a convention. We did. And ultimately, that's why we won.
Yeah. Who was it? Who was it that said the party belongs to the people that show up? Who was that again?
I think the only thing that
we
any
don't
of
say
us
that name. We don't say that name.
He who must not be named.
Why not? He's the best recruiter. The best
Nice.
recruiter.
All right. 100%, Manieri. Like that was 100%. I think that is one of the biggest things. It's the people. This is going to be a party of culture and family and friendship and connection. It's not going to be about power. It's not going to be about tyranny. It's not going to be seeking riches or wealth or prestige or anything like that. It's about actually giving a crap about your own liberty, your own freedom, and the people that you consider your family, their liberty and their freedom. Which, by the way, like, not to mention, well, fuck it, I'll mention whatever the hell I want. It's my program. There's some Republicans that we're friends with, or at least they moved over to be Republicans, and they run as family first. And you know what? That's important, man. Like, you got to have respect for your family first. All this nationalism and stuff just diverts from the fact that you actually should be taking care of the people that are closest to you and the people that respect and love you and depend on you the most. So 100%. All right. What else? What some other catalysts? What else was involved in the success here?
I would say
I know
that,
you got something.
I just felt like the desire of everybody to see it through. And I guess that's just, emphasizes what Mike was talking about. It's showing up, and that's what I was doing. I was showing up and trying to see who were the personalities, what were they talking about, what were their priorities, and it just kept bringing me closer and closer and closer to it. I was like, wow, okay, this is working. I like this. And every once in a while, I'd open my mouth after I heard some stuff if I thought I could contribute. And so I think it's the heart, the characters, the desire to do it better. And we had a target. We know that the culture is so important. I mean, that's what Dan was talking to me about on the phone call that brought me in. And I was in complete agreement with that. Because without that philosophy, why would I stick around to vote in, another 2 years or another 4 years? Or that's how that's how you're going to make it stick. Because
not to mention the fact that we live in a state where, what is there, 20,000 registered libertarians, and we have 400 members of the party.
It's
right?
a travesty.
That is a travesty.
That speaks to the lack of motivation of those people to be involved in the party. It's not that they don't see eye to eye with what the libertarian messages or the benefits of living a libertarian lifestyle are. It's just they're not compelled to participate in a party that was very kind of like apathetic, I think, leading up to this convention, and really stands to change a lot here in the near future. Am I off on that, Rufo? I mean, like, you've been a member longer than I have. I mean, like, what are your thoughts on that?
So what I was going to say is that it was energy, consistency, and stick-to-itiveness. So basically, you had the energy of people who actually want to get shit done, not just being in a social club so that they can tell their mom and dad that they're the chair of some party or something, because half the people don't even want the damn leadership positions in this party. But the difference is they want shit to change, and they recognize that this is the vehicle that needs to be used for change, and not a vehicle used for making the social connections or having social status out there. And I think too many people were using it for that. And then the energy. What did I say? Energy. The consistency. Right. The other thing that made it happen was the consistency. A lot of times you would see in the past with a lot of the quote unquote old guard, we'll say. And a lot of these people are great people, by the way, right? Good friends of mine, people I like, people I respect, people I have, that have put a lot of time in with the NJLP, but I think things got stale for them, right? And I think they did get a little apathetic, and they were a bit complacent, and they weren't as consistent with doing the things they needed to do, which is why when we got to convention, they were getting outvoted 69-13 on everything, right? Because there was no consistency from their end. There was no, which is where organization comes from, the consistency. And then the stick-to-itiveness, when all the bullshit is hitting the fan and things are getting tough and you aren't really seeing any real change happening, keeping your eye on the prize, right? Keeping your eye on that goal, the prize, what'd you call it, Mike? The plan, right? Like having that all there, like knowing that that's going to come to fruition and sticking to it, that was important as well. And I think a lot of the people who have been involved for a very long time, they've lost that. And it's not their fault, right? I don't think they've intentionally lost it. I just think that's what happens over time. And we've got young blood, we've got new blood, we've got reinvigorated blood, all willing to actually put a dent in something. And I said this at convention, if this group just changes one or two laws versus having done nothing for the past few years, it's a complete success.
Yes. Yeah. I 100%. Like, and the big push of the Mises Caucus is local, right? Like it's top, it's bottom up. It's not top down, right? So if we could get some people into some committee positions and some council positions, a mayor, and they are affecting change at least on a local level, that just begins to move that ball down the road and gain some momentum. That basically shows that this is something that is, it's not just viable, it's like in the best interest of most of the people in New Jersey. And just to prove that point, one of the things that got commented here, Doug Gibson said the things that are on everyone's mind, right? COVID lockdowns, mandates, and that Dunce Murphy. I think one thing that we missed the boat on was the last 2 years was quite literally in our lifetimes the biggest opportunity for us to bring libertarianism to people and be like, look, this just makes sense because everything that we've been telling you could get fucked up within the last 2 years has been fucked up. Like Ron Paul was right. Right, like over the last 2 years, it's the perfect symbol or example of all of that and what could become of this tyrannical state that we live in. And no more. Like it is inexcusable now for us to not be prepared, to not have the structure and the foundation so that if they try and pull this shit again, that we are out front basically saying no and just put our foot down and say stop. It is not allowable that like the Republicans then control the narrative 2 years later when mask mandates get repealed and they thump their chest like they succeeded. Okay, fuck that. That is not success. That's freaking bullshit, right? We are not about to be about that. We will be the ones the first week that will put our foot down and say, absolutely not. This will not happen anymore. All right. So let me ask, Dan keeps popping in and out. Dan, what do you think was the one catalyst that kind of like worked for the Mises Caucus in our success here in terms of recruiting and then what happened at convention?
Well, I think one of the things that we have a big advantage on is we have a movement behind us that's much bigger than any one of us. I think that you got guys like Tom Woods and Dave Smith and the Mises Institute and all these big guys from the Ron Paul movement pushing on all their podcasts and even getting on Joe Rogan, Dave Smith, like 5 times. So we have all these new people coming in, and we're able to net with them now and rope them, get them involved and sign them up and bring them to the convention. And I don't think that the other side can match that. And next year it's going to get even worse. And the next year it's going to get worse. And we're going to get bigger. And that's one big catalyst.
Well, you break it up, Dan. You know what? You brought up a really awesome point, Dan. I'm going to cut you off. And Rufo, you brought this up at the convention. A lot of people at the convention, specifically the more praggy type people at the convention, were pissed about how things went down. And you specifically said, like, we want this room to be bigger. And so if it's like, 60-40 us or 50-50 us and Prags or whatever the breakdown is, as long as the room's getting bigger, we don't care, right? Like, we want that friction to start that fire in order to move things forward. And so I agree. Like, we're going to recruit our asses off regardless of whether or not we're the majority or not. And so the key is if the Prags want to like bring in those other people and have a, quote unquote, big tent, like they got to recruit their asses off too, right?
That's exactly what's going to have to happen, right? Like so that, and here's how I see it playing out, right? Like we had a catalyst, we had a motivator, we had to get rid of the weak libertarians on the COVID regime, right? The people that were upsetting us about their soft approach and their milquetoast politics. And that was our catalyst to remove those people. And we're doing it, right? And they're not in control of the message anymore. Well, now they're upset because you've got all of these brazen racist, alt-right misogynists who elected a 50% female board with a minority chairman. But
Frankie's like, I feel attacked.
That took over the party.
I'm a huge misogynist.
You are the biggest misogynist on the board, okay? Let's be honest. And Nikhil's the biggest racist on the board. But
100%.
But they now they have motivation that, oh my God, these MFers, they took our party from us. And they really view it as their party. And that was the problem, part of what motivated us. So now they're going to get going. But here's the thing. What do we have to motivate our people who haven't joined yet? We're going to get a little bit of continuous motivation from, hey, look, we did it. But that's not as motivating as, hey, we got to get rid of the prags, right? So that's where actually now taking those organizational efforts and attacking the state and saying, look what we did, get in here and help us, is your next step. That's the next step in the maturation of the Mises Caucus and the Libertarian Party with the Mises Caucus at the helm, right? So that's what has to happen. And then it will grow, just real quick. And then it will grow because they're going to bring in 50 people to try and catch up to our 60, right? But then we're going to be bringing in other people. So now that room of 80 people, it could be a room of 250 people next year. And now you're going to make the local Republican caucuses and the local Republican conventions look tiny because you're going to have 250 libertarians gathering in one spot. And guess what's going to happen? That's going to get press. And then what's going to happen when you get press? You're going to get donations. And what's going to happen when you get donations? That's more money for elections. And what's going to happen when you have more money for elections? You're actually going to win a couple counts of seats.
We're going to go everywhere and we're going to do everything and
everything. And we're going to take over the world and leave you alone.
And leave you the fuck alone. So this is an important question, okay? And this came up right at the end of the convention. And actually, Dan, the outgoing chair, made this comment to me and probably a couple of the rest of us, right? Make sure that we're not alienating the people that aren't necessarily, MECOX, right? Like, don't alienate the people who weren't necessarily part of this movement that pushed through convention and got to this result. And so that's my question is open forum again. How do we make sure that we're involving those people and engaging them if there was, like you said, Rufo, like this, the initial push of recruitment and stuff was like, let's get this moving in a different direction and basically kind of like change the decision makers. How do we bring them back in the fold and get them engaged in this organization moving forward?
I mean, I'll say, and I tweeted this last night, that we're going to have to find a way to work together if we want to succeed. But here's the thing. There's only so much that we can do. There aren't that many people in this caucus that want to alienate prags and that want to kick prags out of the party. But here's the thing. It's the prags that are saying we don't want to associate with them. Yes. So I think we need to keep on saying, hey, like, this is everyone's party. There was one member that came up to me that was rather upset that this wasn't all Mises Caucus board. And that's what I said to him. I said, this is all of our party. We need to learn to work together. But it's not the Mises Caucus. It's not the Mises Caucus. The Mises Caucus that is driving people away.
Yes, that is true, right? Like anyone who is basically saying like, we don't want anything to do with them, we don't want to associate with them. It's going to be tough to bridge that gap, right? I think we kind of have to take the high road and at least continue to invite them and at least say like come along and like be a part of it. Mike Pinon, like, what's your thoughts? Like, should we continue to just kind of like be open door and big tent and be like, come along if you'd like to?
Well, I think you need to take I think we all need to take the high road. And I think the character of the people that I've engaged with here, they have a high character. And I don't believe that they're the kind of people who are looking to chase someone away. I think they're looking to work with people. Like the question I asked of a member the other night was, why did you get into the Libertarian Party? That's the one thing that I think it's a question that has to be asked sometimes because if we're in this big boat and we're rowing in different directions, or we're not rowing, or it's like, why are you in the Libertarian Party? What is it about? What brought you here? What aren't you? I don't know. I was in the Republican Party because that's where Ron Paul was. And that's where I could help. And I understood I understand the problem there with the third party candidate. I understand it. And I mean, there were lots of times where people were saying, well, if Ron Paul doesn't win the primary, is he going to go third party? And I'll tell you, the Republicans were freaking out because they thought he would do it. Right. So, but look, again, he stayed true to the party. And for us, I think the one word that's been hitting my mind is really interventionism. Now, and we're seeing it, right, with the conflict over it with Russia on the Donbass and that whole thing. And, after hearing Scott speak, there's a lot that he was talking about regards to Ukraine that I'm already familiar with because I've watched, Ukraine on Fire, the second, and then there's a third film by the same filmmaker that it's like 30 years of independence. Okay. And when Scott Horton was mentioning the weapons manufacturers that are in that game lobbying for all of these various interventions, right? It's not even our dumb politicians. No, you'll get a bloodthirsty guy like Lindsey Graham and John McCain and such. But the word to me is intervention, right? And I would like to ask like a prospect or a Republican, would you like it if I walked into your house and started intervening in your dinner against your permission, right? And I just started.
No mashed potatoes for you.
That's right. Exactly. I did this once with a guy at work who was basically raised as his parents are academics and they were devout communists. And I just, I'm at the sound desk, I'm at a production, I'm doing sound, he's doing lighting. And I just took his coffee, took a sip and put it on my desk. And I looked at him and I said, how does that feel? And he was like, it doesn't feel good. So
dude, my OCD is off the chart right now. I'm just saying.
So that word intervention, whether it's intervening in our medical choices, intervening in foreign policy, so where are these people who are looking to be in the Libertarian Party? What are they thinking about in regards to how could you be pragmatic about allowing people to intervene in anything? Go ahead. Yeah. That's kind of like where I'm at. So it's really about finding that gem. Each person is like a gemstone, a precious stone. And what is at their core? What are they looking for in this party?
And what's really interesting is you brought up something that I think a lot of libertarians up until recently were unwilling to take to heart. And it's that people follow leaders. Okay, like if you want a big movement, they follow leaders, impassioned people, right? And so I think as libertarians, we all too often fall into this realm where we're like, oh, well, the theory is the theory. Like, it just makes sense. Like, if you just learn about it, like, you'll be able to, like, you figure it out. You're a libertarian, right? Like, and that's not true at all. Like, most people, they don't give a shit about the theory. What they care about is the person delivering the message, right? And so the message has to be on point and the people have to be on point, right? And so that's why I think, Ron Paul was absolutely fantastic in terms of delivering the message. And it wasn't just the message. Had he delivered it in a completely different way, I'm not sure it resonates as well as it did when he delivered it, right? But when you have people, like you said, and Manieri said, and others have enunciated, like when you have Dave Smith, when you have a Maj Touré talking about libertarianism out there as emphatically as he does, when you have Mike Heiss going on these shows and basically talking about it, when you have Scott Horton talking for an hour and a half as if it's 5 minutes on interventionism, right? And doing it impassionedly, right? Like, which, by the way, full endorsement. If you are online, if you follow antiwar.com or you follow Scott Horton, check out the audio from the talk that he did. He did a half hour on Yemen and like 45 minutes plus on Ukraine. If you think you can Kamala Harris this shit and be like, Russia bad and Ukraine good, you're fucking wrong. Okay?
Russia's a country that's next to this other country, and it's
Like-
a bigger country than that other country, and that bigger country decided to invade the smaller country, and now we are where we are.
Lord.
Yes, they're bad guys. They're bad guys, right? No, like,
Yeah, I
listen
made
to
a
Scott
meme of
Horton.
that.
That hour and a half will make you understand more about how you've been lied to about every other conflict for the last like 60 years, probably 60 years plus. Okay. And it will make you understand that there is stuff going on that you don't get from like the media and these politicians that have these ulterior motives. But it's Scott Horton, the person, that's compelling. It's not just the information. It's that that combination of the person and the message that is just crucial to getting people in here. And so we have to find those people. We have to find those charismatic, like Shane Hazels, that just like, he could read the dictionary and like make you want to run through a brick wall after reading the dictionary. You need those people front and center of that movement. Frankie was just like, oh yeah, Shane Hazel. She loves her some Shane
I
Hazel.
love Shane Hazel.
Matt,
Love you.
Hold on, listen, Matt. I gotta answer your question though. That was posed.
Go
about
for it. I went on a
what-
long diatribe. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I just want to answer that.
I have
No
a point I want to make too.
Yeah,
on that.
make your point first.
I just want to say this is where the regions are the most important, in my opinion, for keeping people that feel like they were slighted on Saturday or something involved. Because, like, specifically in the North, like I just was the regional chair in the North. We have a couple of members that have been around for a really long time that aren't necessarily members of the Mises Caucus, but they are so important to keeping the North running, and they help us that are like have like getting our feet wet or whatever in the party, and like people like Jim Tassone and Ken Kaplan and like people that really do like offer a lot of knowledge and obviously come from the same place we do, where they want to limit government and bring it out of our lives as much as possible. I think in the regions you have the best shot of making sure that those people stay involved and stay on board via like smaller groups, if you will. And that way everyone knows too, like, oh, this person's totally easy to work with. Like, don't worry about them. If they're technically not in the caucus, nobody cares. Like, they're a great person and they do all this other work, yada, yada. Like, there are so many people in this party that aren't a part of the caucus that are awesome people, that are wealths of knowledge. So I think just making sure that the regional boards stay engaged with people like that is definitely going to help out on that end.
100%. 100. All right. I'm going to press pause on you, Rufo, for 1 minute. Hold on. Manieri had one other comment he wanted to make. Oh, and I just,
now Rufo's gone.
I didn't hit any button. I didn't hit any button. He voluntarily left.
He was like, you know what? You're not going to let me speak. I'm out, bitch. All right.
He's like, F you.
You paused.
Go ahead, Manieri.
I lost everybody.
I just wanted to comment on what you were saying earlier, where you're saying like the person matters. And
yes,
that's exactly what I was saying, where Gary Johnson is not going to make anyone a libertarian.
No.
Weld is not going to make anyone a libertarian.
Oh, fuck no.
Like Joe Jorgensen, like, do people really listen to Joe Jorgensen and say, oh shit, like this ideology is correct?
Well, she played hockey and she drank scotch though. Or whiskey or whatever.
I'll tell you what, she'd be awesome to freaking hang out with.
Compelling.
I know that much.
Yeah.
Spike Cohen is very compelling.
Super compelling. He's a badass.
So is Larry Sharp.
Yes, I love Larry.
So
what a great guy.
To Mike's, I want to bring up some points to Mike's point. So when we had Johnson run, there was a huge spike in NJLP membership. Got up over like 450 members, and it fell like a fucking meteor from the sky the following year when everybody decided they didn't want to be involved anymore, because they were under this false impression that being a libertarian was being socially liberal and fiscally conservative, and it was some kind of moderate position. And then when they were like, "Oh, but what do you talk about? What should we do at schools?" And we're like, "Government shouldn't be involved in school." I'm like, "Oh, the pearl clutching!" And then they would take away that they would like, "I don't want to be part of this party." And then we plummeted down to like 200 and change.
You got to
And
take
it's just
baby
been,
steps on that stuff with some
but
of
it's
those people.
but it's been a very slow and steady build since. You know, one of the things I heard from a lot of people in Central is we had 84 people not renew. I said, yeah, but your numbers are the same. So you've had 84 other people new people sign up. So let's make sure we keep those new people signed up. And as we start to see activity, some of those 84 may come back. And, you know, yeah, unfortunately, when you make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. And there's going to be people that get upset. But to your point of how do we keep them engaged, you got to get shit done.
Yeah.
Get shit done, because right now they're going to sit on the sidelines and they're like, these guys suck. The NJLP is a dumpster fire now.
Yep.
The
Obviously.
you know, there's people saying, oh, the NJLP has been destroyed. Well,
Why?
When you guys are being, because the specific caucus now runs it.
It's so melodramatic, though. Like,
Obviously.
I just can't.
Hold on, but
let me raise a point. So,
but wait,
these people's reality has been destroyed.
Absolutely,
right?
And that's why they're going to
obviously that's the way they're going to think.
Yes, absolutely. It's an emotional thing for them. This was their baby. This was their thing. They had ownership on it, and the rug was ripped out from under them. How they got blindsided is beyond me. Like I was nervous up until the day of convention that we weren't doing enough, and then we got there and the votes started coming in, and I was like, "Oh, they had no idea. They had no clue."
Yeah. Yeah,
and
definitely.
And then all of a sudden, so now they're very upset because they got caught completely off guard. They are, like I said, they are expecting failure.
Yes.
They are expecting us to fail. Now, how you could expect a group that organized as quickly and as efficiently as this one did to fail when they clearly have the ability to succeed with organization, beyond me. But now you need to apply ourselves against the state. And once we start making inroads against the state, you're not going to get all of them back. But there's going to be a lot of them that are going to start to dip their toe back in the water. You know, oh, you know what? Maybe they're not so bad after all. Oh, hey, I saw them doing this thing on Breonna's law with no-knock grades for Breonna Taylor. Oh, maybe they're not racist. Like, oh, they did this thing. And like, as they, because talk is cheap, right? Talk's cheap. It's always cheap. So they can yap all they want about how bad you are. But when your actions speak louder than your words and you get shit done on the causes that they claim are theirs, but you're the one making shit happen on a legal level and on the state level, people are like, yo, you guys are idiots. I'm hanging with these dudes. They know what they're doing and they're awesome.
Yeah. So that leads me to another question. What does success look like, right? Moving forward, success up until this point was getting the positions in place, the people in the positions that make sense, all right? What does success look like for the next 12 months, right? We have 12 months until the next convention. We obviously have a national convention that's coming up here in a couple of months. What does success look like for you in terms of the NJLP? What can we do to, consider ourselves successful and maybe even, either disappoint the naysayers or even bring them back into the fold and be like, see, we're getting shit done. Come be a part of this.
Anything short of abolishing the governorship is a failure.
I gotta be honest, like the home run for me, the home run for me is us getting one mayor elected that just decides to nullify everything the state does.
No, right? An elected mayor would be a home run. Yes.
Could you imagine?
Even like Tara Murphy, her campaign is a good one for us to focus on because that's a more local one. We have a bunch of people running for Congress, which is what it is.
They're your messengers. Listen, your congressional reps are your messengers. You need to make sure their messaging is on point. You need to make sure they're spreading the word the best way possible so that people will be drawn to those local races. Use them as your messengers, but focus your resources on those local races.
Well, we don't have ton of them at this time, but we're
Resources?
working
Yeah,
on
I
it.
know.
No,
Oh,
well,
that's
either we
crazy.
don't have candidates or resources, but
I'm
resources
just
is
kidding.
my personal. That's my thing that I really want to focus on the state board, because I guess the vice chair kind of gets to just, I don't know, work with everybody. And
I believe the vice chair should be focused on fundraising and organizing.
What do you know? That is one of my fortes as a human being, is fundraising and making people give me their money voluntarily. So that's a big thing. Like, well, right. I mean, we're going to work on revamping the t-shirt line and the store that we have. We're working on a lot of events right now. We have big events coming up. So everybody keep your eyes peeled for big announcements on big events that are going to be badass. And
should I drop the one?
Which one?
I don't have a date lined out yet.
The closer one.
The one we wanted to do last year that nobody would help us with, so we had to put it on the table.
That's
the one in September. The one in September. All right. Here's the goal. All right. And I'm putting this on recording. It will live in infamy. It's on the blockchain. God damn it. So this will live forever. All right. It is my goal to start the first annual New Jersey Freedom Fest that we will have at, hopefully, I have like a German American club in somewhat North Jersey that's like family friendly and everything, but just to have a blowout festival that's just music and comedians and entertainment and beer and good food and vendors that are all about liberty and guns and shit and 3D printing and all kinds of other stuff, Bitcoin and decentralization, and just have a freaking ball of a time with a bunch of people that believe in being individuals and free and just, again, family first, like wholesome kind of stuff. We want to do this as just a way to bring this community together, because I don't think the Republicans don't do that in Jersey. The Democrats sure as hell don't do that in New Jersey. They just get people together in order to figure out how they're going to divide up the power structure and the money in the state. I think we need a festival of just people that stand in defiance of tyranny and stand for personal liberty and freedom. I think that would be an absolutely fantastic event. And it would, we'll take all comers. It doesn't matter. I don't care. You want to come in and learn about the stuff that you don't understand right now or you haven't been exposed to, come on in. Figure out what all these awesome people are about that stand for personal liberty and freedom. So that's the one thing I'm tasking myself with, that I would love to, get going here in September of this year. So what else? What else does success look like? We have so many irons in the fire. So
uh-oh. I'm skipping.
No, you're not. You're good.
We got you.
Okay. So my idea for you guys there's a nice little storm going on outside. The success is a tangible items. What are tangible markers for success? I would say would be a 25% increase in membership. So getting up over 400 members in the next 12 months. Honestly, I'd love to see you guys shoot for 500 members by the end of by convention next year. But that's that. I'd love to see you double the coffers in funding, right? Yep. They're sitting at about $30,000, get it up to $60,000, if not more.
Fine.
I'm just saying, these are how do we measure success? Was the Mises Caucus successful in their takeover? They increased membership by 30%. They increased the bank account by 100%, and they got one law petitioned and on a ballot and possibly passed, because you have Faulkner Act that you can use to circumvent councils to get shit passed, and they either came close to getting somebody elected locally or got somebody elected locally.
Yes.
So
all of
impact in a local race that got press, a law on the ballot for one of the ballot initiatives, double the coffers, and 30% increase in membership. Those should be the goals.
Love that. Some smart goals. I love it. We got 12 months to get that done. That's awesome. Mike Pinon, what do you think success looks like in the next 12 months for the NJLP? What would you say constitutes a successful year following this convention?
Well, those metrics that Mike just talked about sound good to me. So give me that 10,000 registered libertarian list, and let's go to work.
I love that. I love that.
You know,
we
what I
have
mean?
those lists. The problem is a lot of the lists that we have only have physical mailing addresses. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Not actually phone numbers. So we have to do a little bit of brainstorming on how to reach those people. But
Door knocking.
Tara,
Time to door knock, baby.
I was going to say Tara, in our new VP of membership, is on it like white on rice. So, and she's a woman. Can you believe it?
She's also a misogynist, though.
Just like me. We
Just
are
like you.
We are sister misogynists.
I mean, if you're a misogynist, does that make you trans too? Because like you kind of identify like a dude, right?
Probably, I think so.
NJ Mises Caucus, the home of a lot of gender traitors, apparently. Mike Manieri for the young up and coming libertarian. What would you consider successful for the NJLP over the next 12 months?
I mean, we haven't had someone elected in a very long time. I think the biggest thing is just like to say that we can win elections, because we haven't proven that we can. We need to prove that we can win elections. So that's getting Tara Murphy and Jason McDuffie on their town council for me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, membership, that's a big thing. We want more engagement in the party. But my number one thing is getting them into office.
100%. Yes. I think it's God damn, I'm going to use Federal Reserve terminology. It's that dual mandate, right? Like it's getting people elected and it's getting just growing the movement, right? Like getting more butts in the seats, so to speak, and getting more people involved. It doesn't even have to do with money. It just has to do with if we can engage more people and get more people active. Those two things, if we're successful at, from my standpoint, I think is success by and far above, what's happened for the last umpteen years in the party. What are you guys looking forward to? We're going an hour. I want to be respectful of your guys' time. What are you guys looking forward to? I think we're all delegates here, right? Is everyone here a delegate? Rufo's a delegate for Mike. Mike, you didn't dip your toe in the water on that one. Are you going to be in Reno though, Mike?
I can't be there. I can't be there.
Okay.
I've got obligations here at home.
So that's fine. Family first. Take care of what you got to at home. Yeah. Everyone else, what are you looking forward to as far as Reno? What's going to be the big draw for you guys?
I'm looking for the moment when they announce that Angela McArdle is the new chair, because it's not going to be close. It's going to be
I don't think so either.
I think we're going to get 70, 75, 80% of the vote.
No.
I don't think it's going to be.
That's a big number. You, Michael. I love you, Michael. That's a big number. I'm like,
we got big numbers this weekend.
I know, but I know.
Yeah.
But I know. But all right.
Oh, Dan's back.
I know what the actual delegate totals are so far with all of the states, and it's not that, but it's an impressive number nonetheless. Okay. I do think that friendlies are not. I know that friendlies are not included in the numbers that we have, but so it could creep up towards 70%. But I think. But yeah, no, you're right though. When you start seeing the numbers come in, like they came in New Jersey, like that right there, it's like that first vote where it's like, okay, here we go. Did it work? And then it's like, shit, it worked. Like we got a close second here. Doug Gibson says, then hearing Mike Rufo is at large for LNC. Yeah, I don't know if I look forward to it as much as you guys do, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I look forward to laughing at you for whatever. You're gonna see like the most the most non-engaged email person ever on the LNC. I'm gonna be like, are we still doing this? No, especially if it's like don't say that. Like if it's like a split board and I gotta deal with the prags the whole time, I'm just gonna write what I have to say and then hopefully we have the Mises slate as our thing and it's all positive emails with each other and I don't gotta deal with nasty shit from other people on the board. But regardless, it'll be since Doug brought it up, it'll be It'll be cool. It'll be fun. I'll enjoy it. At least I know that I can promise you that I am going to say the right thing at the right time all the time, and it's never going to be some kowtow to some asshole who I don't care about. I'm not going to care how big of a donor you are to the party or any of that. Like, if you're trying to tell me that universal basic income is a libertarian idea, I'm gonna tell you get fucked.
Blech.
Like, it's not happening, dude. Sorry, we're not pushing it. It's not in the messaging. Sorry, big guy.
Blech.
So inside baseball, Rufo, like at the state board meeting specifically, is like one of the most fantastic people of staying on message, but at the same time not alienating the people that have like an opposing viewpoint. It is the most amazing magic trick I've ever seen in my entire life.
Sometimes for me, because I'm just like, can you just fucking just say what you need to just.
I don't. All right. So to be honest, yes. Yes. To that point, see that, and that's more of what I mean in the email, right? Like, I'm not going to get into flame wars with people.
No,
so if
he's
that's
not.
what your expectation is of me running for
Unfortunately.
at large, it's not going to happen, because I listen. I was a manager at large car dealerships for over 10 years, and I know how to deal with multiple different personalities and some people with multiple personalities, right? So there's a magic to dealing with people. Like, the most contentious person in our party in New Jersey, I was on the phone with for 5 hours, 3 days leading into the convention, because I have the ability to communicate with him and make him feel heard and allow him to be appreciated and understand the process. So yes, like that's, even if there is contention, or there are people on the LNC that are not Mises and are of opposite mindset, you're never going to really see me get into a brawl with any of them. You're going to see me stick to message and refuse to bend on my message, but you're going to see me do what I need to do to communicate with them so that ideas can actually be traded, and we don't have this stonewall bullshit that everybody has right now, where it's just a bunch of freaking you suck, F you, censure this one, censure that one. I'm not playing that game, and I don't care who it is on the board. I'm not playing it. I got shit to do, so let's either get the shit done or get the hell out of my way.
Okay, that's
I
the
love
jersey.
that. That is definitely the jersey that Mike has brought down to the
fast
south
lane if you're dragging ass.
Get out of the left lane, Pennsylvania. It's not what it's for.
Oh, Lord.
Dan O'Neill, what are you looking forward to? You're a delegate going to Reno. What are you looking forward to at Reno?
Oh man, what am I looking forward to at Reno? Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great time. I think that we're going to have.
He loves the fireworks. Dan loves all of the fireworks.
I'm looking forward to the frat parties.
Sounds like it's going to be a big party. Sounds like we're going to have control of the room. It's going to be a good time. But just
are you
to go
bringing
back
the beer pong kit?
Yeah, we're going to bring beer pong to Nevada. One thing I was thinking about, the question you had before, is what are we trying to accomplish here? I think that, like, Michael Manieri's job as the communications guy is really important, because the Libertarian Party said nothing in the past 2 years when all the lockdowns were going on and the children were being masked and people were losing their jobs for forced vaccinations and everything else, and the Libertarian Party was nowhere to be found. So that's a big reason why on Saturday, when we came out in massive numbers to change that and to make sure that there will be a voice for freedom going on in the future, that the Libertarian Party was not doing their job, and now they've been removed. And we're going to do the right thing now, and we're going to speak up against tyranny. And
Yes.
we're going to develop a reputation of doing that. And we're gonna improve the brand name of the Libertarian Party to the point where people are gonna be like, these guys kick ass. Right now, it's not like that, so we have a lot of work to do. But I think Michael Manieri is definitely gonna do a great job with that, and I've seen his work already, and he's doing terrific.
I know. He's so spicy. It's amazing.
There's definitely
I'm
some
looking forward
sriracha
to-
going on.
I'm looking forward to his spicy press releases. Like a press release.
know.
I want to see like 3-paragraph press release launched out to all the press associations with the spicy language, not
Yo,
this
you
milquetoast
should-
language. Like
Manieri,
like-
you should do one on Ed Durr's $500 gas stipend proposal.
Oh my!
Please, and
Oh
listen,
my God!
I will accept nothing less than this is nothing but progressivism doing the speed limit.
100%.
That needs to be worked. Call him a speed limit progressive.
Lead
It
with
needs to
that.
be worked in there.
Lead, yes.
Ed Durr is
Send
a
it to me.
speed limit
I'll edit.
progressive. Here's
good.
why.
Dude, and we need Frankie drawing a political cartoon with he's a trucker, right? In a truck, like doing like 45 miles an hour in the left lane. Like, come on, let's go.
Yo, who's writing this down? Someone write this down. Ripley, I see you in the chat. You write it down, Mr. Organized.
I am looking forward to meeting all of these people that I have been like interacting with at arm's length. What's been awesome is finding the people that are on this live cast and being able to personally interact with them in the state of New Jersey and be able to go to some events and meet them face to face and do things and organize and be active. But there is literally hundreds, if not thousands of other people that will be in Reno that I have interacted with for the past 2 years and have been fighting this fight along with us or you know, in their own kind of corner of the country fighting this fight. And it is going to be amazing just to get there and see these people and shake their hand and buy them a beer or a shot or like just, you know, give them a gigantic hug for thanking them. Because quite frankly, we went through 2 years where there has been mental illness and fucking depression and suicide and shit. And guaranteed a ton of these people kept other people alive because they were putting out messaging that kept them positive and understanding that people are there fighting the same fight that these people need to be fought. And I can't stress that enough. Like, it seems like hyperbole, but it is not. These
It's
people,
really not.
they kept people sane and they kept people thinking that there was a brighter day the next day. And that was like crucial to keeping people on this path of actually fighting for a better life and not just letting this shit just collapse all around them. So
So true.
I can't wait to see all these people. And there's like people that I look up to, like hopefully Larry Sharp's there and freaking Clint from Liberty Lockdown and
Who's a boss?
the whole
by the
nine,
way.
dude. The whole
Clint's a
nine, man.
fucking
Like
boss.
I can't wait to see them all. So if you can make it to Reno, dude, get your ass to Reno. If you can get there because it's going to be a party regardless of who's elected, who wins, anything like that. Dude, there is going to be a freaking party there with a bunch of just boss people that are not statists. They're not tyrannical people. They believe in having a good time and freaking respecting other people. So if you can get there, get there.
And if you
last
think Matt,
notes.
if you think Matt made that sound awesome just now, I'm going to tell you right now, as somebody who's lived through it by going to national, then having recently come down to Florida and meeting everybody that was in Florida and just gone through this process himself, as awesome as what Matt just said, I promise you it's better. I promise you it's cooler and it's more exciting than the way Matt just made it sound, because you get there and at first it's like, and then Dave Smith sees you coming out of an elevator and he recognizes you and he goes, "Hey, dude, what's up?" And he gives you a big hug.
He's one of our delegates.
Yeah. You know, it's just like all these guys, like you walk up, like they don't recognize you at first, and then you introduce yourself and you've engaged with them in the past, and then they're like, "Oh shit, yeah, I know you." Or even Justin Amash. I'm in an elevator with Justin Amash, and he's like, "Rufo, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Your beard's bigger than it is in your profile picture." Oh, okay. You know, like it's just like those little interactions. You're like, "Oh shit, like this is real." Like it just like there's
cool.
certain things that just hit. Like, you know, these people know you. You know, these people met. Like, so if you've been engaging with these people, don't be afraid to say hi to them. Don't be afraid to come to Reno and talk to them, because they know who you are. They love you for who you are, and they want to live a life of liberty with you. And you're going to feel it more than you've ever felt it in your life.
Like, and that's a note. If you are in Reno, just hang out with Rufo, and then everyone will know you by proxy. That's just the way it goes.
Oh, you're
In
part
New
of the Jersey crew. Oh,
Yeah, in
you're
Jersey,
part of the
you
Jersey
gotta-
crew.
That's just say I'm
Rufo's
here
in
with
charge of it.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
say I'm here with Jersey, and there's like this mythological thing that goes along with us now. It's cool. You'll be fine.
look, it's
You're
Jersey.
like, oh,
You
you're
got to know a
those
guy,
guys.
right? Rufo's my guy. I got to know a guy. Rufo's my guy. That's the way it goes. All right, last at bats. Final thoughts. I'll start Frankie, and we'll go around counterclockwise. Last thoughts on the convention, and then the year ahead.
I am pumped. I don't think people realize the group of badasses that we were able to assemble that actually wanted to take on leadership roles in this party that has been in a little bit of turmoil for the past year to 2 years. So I think that being a part of the Mises Caucus is one of the best things that has happened to me since being back in Jersey, because I've only been back in Jersey since summer of 2019. And I met some of the best people that you could possibly meet in New Jersey via this party and specifically via this caucus. So I'm really looking forward to working with all the other people on the board. We're going to kick some ass. We're going to take some names. We're going to do some real shit. And we're going to have a great time doing it.
And huge props to Frankie, who took over the North region following some scandalous shit, some scandalous shenanigans going on, and Frankie righted the ship, and North is growing. So, like,
yeah, North is badass. Shout out to the North. You guys are a bunch of awesome people, and
yes,
I can't wait to see what Dave Willard does as chair. Dave Willard, someday you'll have a voice back, I'm sure, and you're gonna kick some ass and take some names too, just like I did, and it's gonna be great. He's gonna do awesome.
Manieri, last thoughts.
I mean, we did it. You know, we took the state board, but this is where the work begins, and I'm excited.
Awesome. Wait, Rufo, final thoughts. Oh, you're muted, brother. You're muted.
I'm muted. Rookie foul. My bad. I should know better.
Are you new?
Not yet, right? Like I've done this before or something.
Today, Rufo.
So final thoughts are this, man. Like, I'm so proud of everybody that came together and stepped up. And like a lot of people trusted me and put faith in me, and they listened to what I had to say, and they were willing to hear what I had to tell them when I was bringing them on board, man. Like 2 years ago, there was like 3 of us in New Jersey, and then this past Saturday we had 70 people in some votes, and it's. I'm proud of everybody. I'm grateful for everybody that took a role and took on leadership and decided to do what they were going to do. And I have nothing but the best of expectations because of the core badasses that are now running the show. I look forward to really seeing what happened and listen to you guys and then, jumping in the chat here and there with you. So that's really it, man. I'm excited for everybody.
Rufo, it sucks we're losing you to the Florida Libertarian Party and the Florida Mises Caucus. But you know what? It is going to be our goal every single year to have a bigger convention than you all do down in Florida. It's gonna this is gonna be like the Muhammad Ali and
I'm
Frazier.
on the convention committee.
We're doing it. Let's go. It's gonna happen. We're going.
I'm on the communications committee in Florida.
Okay.
Bro, we're gonna have a full week of Libertarian Party convention. We're just people are gonna be sleeping in the freaking hallways. It's gonna happen. Let's go.
It's gonna be like Woodstock, bro. We're gonna have mud fights out in the yard.
That's what I'm talking about. Mike Pinon, last thoughts.
Had a good phone call with Tara Fisher. Yeah, I'm in the South.
Total badass.
I'm total badass. And she's handed me a couple of bits of responsibility. I said, okay, I'll take that on, and we'll see where it goes. I'm looking to, ask people, how do you want to go about this? If there's, I want to do the work. And I know, like Mike Manieri said, this is where the work begins. And I think this crew of people can do the work. They've shown that they can get this phase done. So we're just going to step into the next phase. And I love to hit those metrics Mike was talking about. Whatever it takes, we're going to get the work done. And I don't even feel like I want to be better than what was before. Let's just do the work. And when we look at it, it'll be better. It'll just be great. But we just got to do the hard work. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Dan O'Neill, last thoughts. Oh, did Dan freeze? Oh, we got him. Last thoughts,
man.
Dan.
So we're gonna have some big events in Central Jersey. A lot of people are gonna come out. A lot of people are gonna join. It's gonna be a buzz going on, and we're gonna have a great time. And we
got to get Dan a laptop.
Yeah. His iPhone's doing him wrong.
is your Wi-Fi on?
Dude, Central Jersey is gonna be freaking lit, man. Central Jersey has the biggest region? I think that's the biggest region, right? That we have right now with Central in
They
terms of
even
total
have
membership.
county affiliates. We don't have any county affiliates in the north, so they got us beat there.
Yep. So Central Jersey is going to be a focus going forward for sure, because that is basically kind of like the core of what's going to be going on in Jersey. Plus, it's
no such thing as Central Jersey.
Well, I mean, like Middle Jersey, whatever you want to call it, the waistline. It's equidistant for Frankie as it is the people down in Cape May. So, like, that's just what happens.
Right.
So, well, look, we had an extremely successful convention. I think we're all pumped to see what happens here in the future, and we're ready to roll up our sleeves and get to work. There's going to be some big things coming out of Jersey. So if you're not in Jersey right now, but you're watching, definitely pay attention. And look, I'll have more updates later on. I got some more episodes coming up in the future, so definitely check us out. And do not sleep on Jersey, man. We are up and coming, baby. We're up and coming. So everyone, have a good night. I will see you on the next episode of Ungovernable. Thanks, everyone.